All right, good morning. We are on air. It is so good to see you after a while. I feel like new after being away for a while and a much deserved break. But I missed you guys, so I hope you've been well. It is so good to see you right here on the show. My name is still Winnie Lubebe, Hatuja Change, okay? And today being a Mindful Monday, we want to focus on a group of people that we love and adore and cherish. And these are our brothers, these are our fathers, these are our uncles, our husbands, our boyfriends, okay? We're talking about the men today on the show. And we are looking at emotional unavailability. And we'll be looking at, are men allowed to feel? Okay, and there was a question that was just asked just this morning by the Fixing the Nation guys, and Mariam asked Eric, are men allowed to feel? Okay, so I think that is the same question that we're posing to you this morning. Are men allowed to feel? And we'll be looking at the culture of suppressing male emotion and its cause. And we'll be looking at how it manifests itself across different areas, either in families, in relationships, at workplaces as well. And really, when we talk about emotional, because there's this thing about, oh, you know, women are more emotional, men are more logical, okay? I always have a problem with that statement, but I have gentlemen on set with me this morning, so we'll get to understand, really, is that even a thing in the first place, okay? So be sure to stick around until the end of the show, even as we really understand and unpack men allowed to feel, okay? But before you meet my guest this morning, we have a question for you. And the question is, okay, what message would you give to a young boy growing up today about being in touch with his feelings, okay? What message would you give to a young boy who's growing up today about being in touch with his feelings? You know the drill by now. At NTV Kenya, across all board is how you can reach us. If you want to give us a call, by all means, do so, because we're live, okay? But if you try to call us and you're not able to reach because maybe the line is busy, use our WhatsApp number 0112-500-400 and tell us what is that one message that you would give a young boy who is growing up today about being in touch with their feelings, okay? We'll be looking at your feedback as we continue with the conversation. But my guests are already here. Like I said, today is a gentleman's affair. So assume many boys, okay, today. But here's the thing. I also grew up with boys. I have 3 brothers and just me. So this is, it's you know, territorial najwa to some extent. And on my immediate left, I miss Mikali, you know, because this is our thing. Okay? We have Felix Andrea Gideji, who is a boy and men's advocate. Good to see you today. How are you doing?
We're keeping it, man. We're keeping it
cool, eh? Yeah. Boys,
yes.
Not to make a bar stools.
Exactly.
So it's a good thing. Obviously, bar stools, nice. But well, you know, something like that. Good to see you. Good to see you, Felix. We also have Albert Migowa, who is a male psychologist as well as an emotional intelligence facilitator. I really like that. Good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Before we started the show, we asked, what do you mean male psychologist? What about us? And you said?
I simply said, why not men?
Why not men?
Yes.
Why not men?
Yes.
I really like that. And we'll unpack more on this, because clearly there is a need. There's a reason why you got yourself in that space. So I'm really curious to understand the story behind it. And also joining us today for the first time as well is George Karume, who is a men's coach. Good to see you this morning. How are you doing?
Very, very well.
How are you feeling on the show?
Very happy to actually even, you know, send this conversation out.
Right.
We are looking forward to the different men that people will become out of this conversation.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. And of course, joining us on Zoom, which we'll get in touch a little bit later, is George Mutonga, who is a men's mental health advocate. He'll be joining us in just a second via Zoom. But it's so good to see you guys. You know, I'm really tempted to ask, what do we bless? You know, like boys. Awachana na hiyo. Ile mkipatana mimi mnasema tu niaje bro.
Inaishi hapo.
Niaje bro. For fiti, for fine. Yeah, very nice and all those things.
We move on.
Then we move forward, right? But really, can we just understand emotional availability before we talk about unavailability? Emotional availability, what exactly does that look like? I'm going to start with you, George. What exactly does availability look like? Because again, we've had a lot of conversations about women and even some men where would say, yeah, that one, emotionally unavailable, you know, and we term them as that. But there's also the other question that emotional unavailability, does that make you a bad person? Okay, but can we just first of all understand emotional availability from a man's perspective? What does that look like?
Well, emotional availability must start with emotional awareness.
Okay.
What men today are not is emotionally aware. For men, we often have to, we actually summarize our feelings in two.
Okay.
It's angry and fine.
Ooh, you know what I was expecting? Angry and happy. No?
No, it's angry and fine. Even when we are at our happiest, we are fine. Even when we are moderately happy, we are fine.
Okay.
And if we are not fine, irrespective of whether it is fear, it is insecurity we feel, whatever feeling it is that we have in that instance is summarized as anger. So emotional awareness is so critical for men, and that is where it must start. You cannot treat something that you haven't properly diagnosed. And equally, you cannot tame whatever emotion it is that you're having if you have not labeled it correctly.
Is. Yeah.
Now, emotional availability for men also enables them to lead properly.
Okay.
Men have a very divine responsibility of leadership. Now, look at our population today, not just at home, even at the workplaces. The population of the ladies who we are leading today is actually even getting to a percentage that is actually higher than the men themselves. So without understanding what the emotions are, being aware on what it is that you are seeing presenting itself with the ladies who you're dealing with, then you are actually an inadequate leader when it comes to that level.
Okay.
There are so many things that ladies communicate, either in the how they react, and you can even see this at home, in the how they react. So if you're always, quote unquote, logicalizing everything that the lady is saying, then you lose them.
Yeah.
So we start with the feeling, but you cannot start with the feeling if you don't understand.
You do not understand it. So we can't even talk about availability or lack of it without understanding the awareness, you know, part of it. And here's the, I really like that. And I'm also concerned when you said angry or fine. I am like, polyamorous. Feels like we've done something to you to sort of like not explore all these other emotions aside from either anger or just fine, of which fine is not an emotion in itself, which I'm curious to understand from you. Because most of the time when we talk about emotions, we're happy, we're sad, we're angry, but there's a lot more to emotions than just that, right? Yes. Can we first of all unpack all that, and then we'll come back to then understanding the awareness bit of it. At what point then do we become aware of our emotions? But now in this case for the men, as we are told we're emotional, so you know. But yes, can we unpack the emotion part and the different, you know, type of emotion?
Thank you very much. I think for me, the first point of call is to really understand what really are emotions. What are they? And just to summarize, these are basically intense feelings, which are either imagined or real, and they actually emanate from a part of our brain called the amygdala. The amygdala is a part of the brain that deals with emotions. So it then tells us whether a threat exists or not. Therefore, you then respond accordingly. But even if I delve deeper, emotions constitute the human person, and in this particular context, the man. In psychology, I've got what you call the wheel of life. And the wheel of life, what it talks about, the key elements that make you a person. What are the components? One, you've got physical, which constitute the physical being of the person. Psychological, the thought processes, the emotions. You've got the social-cultural context. You've got the environmental. Spiritual, and there are financial. So the idea is to ensure that there's a balance, all right? Now, closer to your question, or the conversation. The question is, why are we unavailable? I said there's so many layers to this conversation.
Okay.
And I'll go back to social casual context. How are we socialized, you know, to be a particular way, to be strong, to be brave, not to talk, you know, not to express yourself. And that does something to the young man. And that is what you call, the young man lacks what you call an emotional vocabulary.
Okay.
You're unable to define and identify how you're feeling.
What you're feeling.
Yeah.
That is where men narrow down to just two.
Yes. Exactly, because you see, if you're not taught how to be happy, how to be sad, you're then going to go to default setting. And there's one emotion that is well known and is socially acceptable, that is anger. That's why now you'll, as opposed to expressing your feelings of joy, happiness, you then resort to anger. Then that leads to violence.
Because then that's the only way you know how to...
Exactly.
Okay.
So for me, that lack of emotional vocabulary, for me, has been one of the biggest downsides in this conversation. So for me, I believe if we encourage the young men to really go express yourself. It's okay. Yeah. It's human. You know, we are human. We are not robots. We are not robots. It's not a sign of weakness. I think that's also been a problem, an issue, that men who express themselves are weak, vulnerable. I think it's very okay to be vulnerable. You're human. And I always add a caveat. They'll be wisely vulnerable then again.
You know that's
Oh yes, because then you can't just lay all your wares to the public. You don't know who you're talking to. So be wisely vulnerable. But it is okay to be vulnerable.
Okay, we'll unpack the wisely vulnerable
Yes.
in just a second. But I understand what you're saying, because again, there was a time we had more or less a similar conversation in terms of men and their space, and there was a lot of conversation about we don't allow them to be vulnerable. But then again, one man asked, sasa nyinyi lakini tutulizane tu kweli. Mimi tu kama mwanaume nikae hapa kwa ikiti alafu nianze kulia. Nyinyi mtafeel aje around me. You will cringe.
How?
You will cringe. And you see what you're asking, how? You know? But what you're saying is be wisely vulnerable, okay? I really want to understand the wisely vulnerable, you know, at that part. But then again, talking about men are not aware, first of all, of the emotions, and then the whole aspect about how we've been socialized, and men not being told it's okay to cry, it's okay to be happy. You know how you guys feel in Kenda football, a love for the team that you're supporting in a win. So you guys are always on top of the tables. At that point, nothing else matters. But then at what point does it start? Does it start at conception? Does it start at, I mean, in the womb? Does it start when a child is here? At what point then does that start?
Najua umegusa mpira, so watu wa Manchester lazima brag kidogo.
Usikwe hivyo.
We've started winning finally. Yeah, but right, when we talk about men's mental health, we are talking about a silent crisis. Okay. One that is still vague, is still not talked about. There's still a lot that is happening in that space. So this is a silent crisis that if it's not handled rightly and wisely, as he's saying, then we are plunging into a very deep and dark hole as men. And again, most men confuse anger with strength, and silence with control.
Okay. Tell us more.
Yeah, as the conversation has been going on. So you think you being angry, you are strong as a man because you are not taking control. You're marking your territory. You're making yourself known to others. Yeah, and you think when you're silent, of course you are controlling everything. Like no one will ask you anything. Yeah. Like you're a man. You're not supposed to be. Unaona hii analogia the neck versus the head. Yeah, the man is the neck. The woman.
No, the man is the head.
The man is the head. The woman is the neck. So as the head, as the head, you're taking control into everything. Yeah. So you being silent, people won't know what you're thinking. Okay. So whatever you say might be final, whatever you think might be final, whatever you act might be final. But again, going back to the sense of what you're asking about awareness, you can't be aware of something that you don't know. You can't be aware of, if you don't know an emotion, if you've grown up knowing that as a man you're supposed to be angry, then what else do you know? You can't be aware of the awareness part of it. Yeah. How it happens, how it feels.
Yeah. I think that is where then the question at what point does then awareness become important. And the reason why I brought up the whole conception womb thing is we've had a lot of people say, yeah, men kick some, I mean boys, you know, like if you know you're carrying a boy when they kick so much, and you know you're carrying a girl when you know they're all quiet. So even before they come to this world, we've already, we've already judged them. And that is where the question is, at what point then does it become important for men to be aware of all these emotions, even if you don't know how to express, but just be aware that sort of like this emotion exists. Do you want to take that, George?
Sure. I can take, and I think I'll just take it off from where you've left. I remember my son, when he was in the womb, it would be a very calm week. Back then I used to come back home over the weekends, and it would be a very calm week. No sooner have I come through the door, and I'm having a conversation with the mom, suddenly it is chaos in there. You know, and she could actually even feel it. I think that in its simplicity is a demonstration that they begin to feel. Very early, all right? But then the question becomes, at what point then do we need to land this awareness? Now, where we are landing this awareness, and the reason why we are having the struggles that we are facing with men being aware of the emotions today is because of how we have been socialized. All right? From onset, we have been taught to be stoic, to not feel. And even if you feel, do not express whatever it is that you have felt. So from the youngest of ages, boys need to be taught to express what it is that they're feeling. I see my son oftenly when he's extremely frustrated. Probably he was trying to fix a toy and it is not going the way he was expecting. There will be an outburst, you know? But for him, how he will express it is through some anger kind of outburst. But there is a frustration there that we need to teach him. This is what you have felt, you know? And it is okay for you to actually say, I am frustrated. This is not going the way I would have wanted it to go. Then if it is anything to do with, say for example, a nightmare that he has had, and he's actually coming to bedroom needing, you know, security. There is a fear that you need to express to him that by the way, it is okay for you to actually feel that, you know, feel it, you know, stay in it for a moment, but of course, don't stay there. But it has to start with expressing. So it must be from the onset, because the longer we delay these, then the individual has been conditioned. And it becomes even more difficult to unlearn, so that you can then relearn something completely new. So our fathers who are completely out of touch with emotions have to be the beginning. They have to create the environment that by the way, son, it is okay. Our mothers, or the mothers of the men who we are raising today, also must be aware, because at the end of the day, you can't give that which you don't have.
That's true.
So it must begin with you, so that you can give, they grow up with it.
I see. Is it, oh, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, you know, when you asked and he was talking about that, I remember when you growing up and instead of you being corrected, unaanza kuchapa, mbona unalia kama msichana. And you know you are like a small boy. What he's saying, when you get angry, you'll throw those toys. Toy imetoka tu mguu, but instead your brother or the father kama fix ako ka mguu, anabaki hapo akikuangalia hata yeye anashangaa, sasa mbona umeharibu. So this tantrum is throwing that toy, you know, kuharibu, and instead of now you coming and sitting down with the son and explaining to him that yes, hii imeharibika mguu, wachana nayo, taleta ingine, then the boy slowly understands that mistakes can happen. As long as I'm alive and I have these things, that can happen, but it can be corrected also.
And anger is not the only emotion that...
Yes. So it shouldn't be about anger always. Like we need to go back, as he's saying, and start teaching something else. Start loving, start caring, start reciprocating that to something else. Normally when I am preparing for this show, I think something happens before I come. Like yesterday I was with a family, a friend of mine that lost their sister, Eve Modoni. We are still with them. So the kaboy was there playing, and then the uncle came, and the kaboy had the phone. You know, siku hizi tumefunza watoto, tumereciprocate everything na phones. So when the kaboy was having that phone and alikuwa YouTube, the uncle came and told him, give me the phone. Akampatia, eka kwa meza, akaeka. Now can you sit upright? There you sit in class. Akaka, then akamwambia, good boy, thank you. I was like, wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Gentle parenting.
Okay. So this still happens.
It's like, but you see, the thing is, when we see that, we're like, anabembeleza watoto, you know, the kababa generation and whatnot. And I'm pretty sure you guys have seen, you know, on the internet, gentle parenting versus this other one, how we were raised, you know. And a lot of people are like, we're sort of like embracing gentle paring, but then some other person is like, but gentle parenting does not really work, you know, on all points. We're due on a break, but something that when we come back from the break, I'd want you to address is it then innately that boys, men, like mukizaliwa, that is the emotion that comes, that like it's the primary sort of like emotion when we're talking about anger, because we see this even with young boys, like the frustration ends up with anger, okay? Instead of asking for help, the first thing that comes is anger, okay? So is that like innately sort of like a primary emotion that is there that we can shift? But can we take a break? Because I do not want to rush you into it, okay? But even as we do that, remember the question that we're asking you this morning is very simple, and that is, what is one word that you would what message would you give to a young boy growing up today about being in touch with his feelings? That is the question that we're asking you this morning. Feel free to engage with us, and that is at NTV Kenya across all board, or give us a call. We're live, or better yet, use our WhatsApp number 0112-500-400 and tell us what is that one message that you would give a young boy growing up right now about being in touch with their emotions. See you after the break. Welcome back to the show. The conversation on this Mindful Monday is about emotional unavailability, okay? And we are unpacking what exactly that looks like from a man's perspective. So Leo show ni wanaume, okay? But for the ladies who are watching and you want to support your man, that is your brother, your cousin, your dad, your man, you know, and your son, and especially for the sons, then this is the show for you. Stick around until the end of the show. But the question that we're asking you this morning is very simple. That is, what message would you give to a young boy growing up today about being in touch with his feelings? I'm just going to sample two feedback from Facebook that I want to tie into the question that we asked about being angry. Is it that, like, that is your primary emotion as men? That I'm kizaliwa as young boys. Is that the primary emotion that you have? So PK Kim says, love himself and he should learn how to control his emotions, okay? Then there's another one who says, this is Dembede Aseme, I think, says, be stoic and not be ruled by your emotions. I want you to unpack those two comments and then answer the question on the primary emotion that, you know, boys, men have. The sigh. The sigh.
So I'm going to answer. I'm going to play. I'll be interesting today. Okay. I'll couple those two comments with a question. Yes, and I'll do it this way.
All right.
Remember, for the longest, when you look at African traditional cultural practices, men, young men, were brought up to be in a certain way.
Okay.
Stoic being one of them, strong, protector, okay? What did that do? The overarching theme of that was lack of vulnerability, and I dare say some level of empathy. Yes. So this individual, or this young man in this context, has been unable to express himself as he should. That is why we are having so many psychosocial issues. And I dare say, studies have even indicated that many men have mental health issues. And many men are dying by suicide. That should tell us something. And heavily embedded in that, emotions is everything. Emotions govern our behavior. And because this young man, as he was growing, was not aware of, or rather was not given that leeway to express himself, because if he did, he'll be branded either weak, you know, or I guess feminine, for lack of a better word. What does he do? He suppresses himself. Yeah. What does suppression lead to? Anxiety, depression, and etc. But key among that, as I mentioned earlier, you don't have the emotional vocabulary. You cannot identify and express your emotions, which is a very deadly ingredient, especially for the young man. Why do I say so? Yeah. Remember, in order for us to thrive, not just survive, but I'd say thrive with deliberation, we need to be individuals who are, one, proactive, who are able to, you know, go out of our way and do things in a manner that will enable us to thrive. What am I saying? Communicate well, work with people well, solve problems, conflicts, you know, and be empathetic, you know, because these are the social issues that we'll come across in life. And when we're not able to address our emotions or even identify our emotions, it becomes very problematic, because then again, because you do not know how to identify your emotions, then your default setting will always be anger. Okay. Hence, we have violence, misogyny, and I dare even add toxic masculinity.
And maybe just taking up from that, and something that he's also mentioned. Yeah. Globally, we have upwards of 700,000 deaths by suicide globally. That's a lot. Of these, men account for more than 70%. Yes.
70?
Upwards of 500K is men in that 700K. Wow. And it is not that the girls are not trying. They are trying, and in fact, the attempts for the ladies are more higher than the men. But majority of the times, when the lady is attempting, it is a cry for help. By the time the man is getting to that point, he is done. Yeah. So they are more thorough. There's no attempting, and their success rate is very high. Yeah, that is just so sad to think about. So when we bottle it up, we train the body to bottle it up, it gets to a point where the body can't take it anymore. So if it is not depression or anxiety, it shows up as disease. Science has demonstrated that we actually have disease that has been caused by the body always staying in a tense and anxious state. So we can't keep that up for the boy child. Data is showing it is not working. So if it is not working, we have to learn something new. Absolutely. And just then to ask, because we talked about the lack of awareness when it comes to emotions, okay? Before we even talk about availability or lack of it. So then what does an emotionally aware man, boy look like?
I can...
Sure, yes.
Yeah. I think for me, it's the very basic. Allow yourself to feel how you're feeling. Okay. If you're happy, be happy. If you're sad, be sad. If you need to cry, cry. I think we should be able to create that environment whereby the young man is allowed to freely express himself. Yes. Because you see, like we've mentioned here, once you're not able to express yourself, those feelings fester. And if they don't come out as emotions or feelings, they'll come out in another way. And the most common way is violence. So for me, creating that space, allowing the young man to, you know, to express himself. It's okay, it's a human. Remember, we have the wheel of life. And emotions is a very strong determinant. And if I might add, emotions determine our behavior. Yeah. Do you know the saying, hasira, hasara? Yes. We come and hasira, how is your day going to be? Yeah. The same way. You wake up happy, your day will be? It's likely to be a good day, regardless of the challenges. Now, for me, here's where now emotional awareness comes in. Remember, life is not linear. There are ups, And they're down.
They're in between.
Yes. And in betweens. And in this context, I'll even loop in the element of the workplace. You know, here you are, you're from work, you're from the house, you go to the office and you get that boss or that supervisor who has said, today, I just don't like your face. You get the verbal tirades. And then the usual at these millennials, these graduates of nowadays. There's nothing that you seem to do that is right. Now, what do you do in that context as a young man? Now, you're not conditioned to be aware of your emotions. What's likely to happen? You may end up being violent verbally. I dare say even physically. But the question is, what's the consequence? This is your boss, this is supervisor. You get.
And this is your work.
This is your work. Exactly. Exactly. So you see, because you do not know, you cannot define what your emotions are and identify them, you're going to react. And that reaction could lead you to losing your job. But when you're aware, an idea now, so when you're more emotionally intelligent, aware, you'll then know, okay, fine, I'll just bite my tongue, I'll breathe in and out, or maybe I'll use other means. Maybe I'll try to figure out to go to HR or something. You'll then now figure out problem-solving ways, as opposed to, just being there, reacting. Because now you'll be more of, okay, fine, if I do this, what is the consequence? So you're more socially aware of your context, and then that informs what you do and what you don't do.
What you do, what you don't do. I like that. Because again, and the reason why I'm asking, what does an emotionally aware man, so like, what is their default? Because we're not saying you walk around happy all the time and smiling and doing all those things, or you walk around telling everybody how you're feeling, but there's the default. Because like you said, it affects every area of our life, from the physical to our physical health, to emotional health, to our mental health as well. So it's not just the emotions, talking about emotions just for the sake of talking about emotions, but all these other areas of this man. And also, what George talked about, the fact that there's the sort of like expectations that's or the primary role that a man has to be a leader, to be a provider, to be. So if this man is not okay in all the senses, then all these other areas of his life sort of like suffer.
A leader, a provider, a protector. You've already labeled this man to so many things in one.
But isn't that what they are?
Yes, it is. But now behind this man, what is happening? It's a silent crisis. That there's a cry for help. But as we are saying, this man is not able to express it because hajui anaanzia wapi. And again, as he was saying, about data, actually in Kenya it is 1 out of 4 men and undergo mental health.
Okay.
So 1, 2, 3.
1 out of 4 men.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
We are deep in the gutters for the 3 of us.
George is on Zoom.
Maybe if George was here, so we'll say 1 out of every 4, 1 is experiencing mental health issues, and that is depression, that is anxiety, that is suicidal thoughts. But again, as you said, when we look at, because in counseling we say we are who we are because of our childhood experiences. So how are we brought up? How are we growing up? Nakumbuka tukipigia story ya mtoto akizaliwa anaspankiwa kidogo hapo nyuma ndo alie tujue kama ako alive ama everything. But how is this young boy brought up? Because we need to understand where this young man is coming from. By the time we are telling him about emotional intelligence, because actually this is the missing skill. I say, for me, I'm saying this is the missing skill amongst us young men, emotional intelligence, because it is about understanding, it's about expressing ourselves, it is about acknowledging those emotions and feeling them. When we go back to multicultural counseling and we go back, like I come from Meru, us we've been taught to grow. Unaona ile ati unazoea unaliaje kama msichana. And you're just like a small boy. And it's something that has happened. You're trying to express that emotion that imekuja immediately, because it is about the immediate emotion. So is it love? Is it anger? Is it anxiety? Is it pain? And again, he talked about the absent fathers. This immediate young older person that is next to you, how has he been expressing himself? Because we say, when we say monkey see, monkey do. How have seen my dad doing, even when I was young, growing up. That is what I'll first will come into my mind before I do anything else. Because this is what I am seeing daily. So where is this young boy coming from? Is he understood? Has he been taught to to express these feelings? Has he been taught to say when he's hungry? Because ukiwa njaa ni shida. Ukikula ni shida. Ukishiba bado ni shida. So like how is this young man expressing himself? So when are you supposed to eat? What are you supposed to eat? How long are you supposed to stay without eating? And you remember, and when all this is packed up together, when we are growing up, that you either get to a perfectionist, to a sanguine, to a fledge or anything. Why? Because this is how, like I grew up, I keep giving this story and people laugh because I keep saying I grew up in a, my mom was in the police, my dad was in the army.
Ha!
Sema amen.
Amen.
So,
hey.
So now you got, kwetu ilikuwa ni yes, no, hakuna cha no, ni ufanye sahi, kesi badai. So this is my mom, very strict, very clean. He wants to come into the room and see if you've thrown your socks, because unajua wanaume boys tukiingia kwa nyumba unazanga kwa mlango kinatolea kwanza ni hapo. Socks ni kurushia hapo. And then there's my dad on the other side. Is in the army. There's a lot of discipline, structure, order and discipline in the system that I have to follow. And then there's culture, niki grow up, nikikuwa teenager, nikirudi Meru home. There's a culture where you are a man, and if you cry with one eye, and if it cries, the tear doesn't go beyond the cheek. And if it goes beyond the cheek, it can't be seen.
Oof. Okay.
So
it's impossible.
So how do you even do that?
It's impossible.
So when we go through that circumcision period, of course we are taken to a shelter somewhere, and then we are taught. But who is teaching us? The same hurt men who've been hurt by the previous generation. So what will they do? They'll continue to hurt us. So until now that you're talking about mental health, is now when we are getting to understand, and who are we giving to where are we taking our young ones to be trained? Last time I felt very sad when I went to somewhere in because we do training for parents, and I went somewhere and I saw tumefika rites of passage time. Akis mbona rite of passage imekuwa ni kama baby shower tena? Like we need, because I keep, even when I have friends who are single mothers, and they appreciate that I'm a psychologist and I do mental health, and they let me talk to their kids. Because I keep telling you that we need to have an honest and candid conversation. There are things that we cannot do. If you're a single mother, there are things that you cannot do to your boys. Even if you have 4 of them.
Wait, like what? What can and can we not do?
Can you explain circumcision to your boy?
No, we can't. I mean, but unasoma books.
Unasoma, but have you been circumcised? Have you been in that?
You cannot, that because you've not been in that.
And everything you do, as pertains to that, you will do it with your perspective of what it should be. But you see, when you're a man, you're a subject matter expert.
Because you go through it.
So when my friends, the sons, ask them about circumcision, and they ask, what is cut? How is it cut? Where is it taken after being cut? So who explains that?
We might not have all those.
So I had to sit down with the Kabu and explain to them and tell them, because again there was fear of the Olka process. But luckily enough, it is not done as it was done to us that other time by hurt men who make it very painful for you, so that it sticks. So that it sticks in you that this is the process. So it is a process. It is not an event. Circumcision and everything. So this place I went, I found young mothers who come up pamoja, simply because 1 or 2 of the sons were almost getting to circumcision. Waka group pamoja, wengine wenye hata wako wamefika, wakawakusanya pamoja, wakawapeleka. Alafu that day was dead, ilikuwa siku ya kutoka. So you can imagine the boy is not even fully healed. And the mama kopa amemshikia, Baba, what is the problem? Why are you limping? Why are you walking like this? The boy is not even able to say. Atanzaje kusema this part of me is still in pain. So we should accept at some point that this is a man's role. And even as men, we are giving out our children. Who are we giving our children to? Are we giving our children to hurt men who will continue with the culture of hurt? And then we are having a whole generation of hurt men. I had a problem with that culture of ours of circumcision, where they have to hit you until your toenail is off, so that you can feel. Don't worry, this is a med conversation.
Yikes. So,
and then you're taking to cold water, unasokiwa kwa maji baridi, you come out. The whole process is just, it's worse than a military training. It's actually torture. It's very traumatic. And when you see men coming out of that process, most of them come as hurt men, who even they are quick to hurt women, because you've been taught it's strength, it is control. and nothing else.
Oh, wow. I think the society needs to just apologize.
So we need to understand in terms of culture, in terms of region, in terms of upbringing, so that you're able to understand how are we leading this man to emotional intelligence. You need to understand where they're coming from first, before you even explain to them what are emotions.
Okay, very, very valid. Okay, before we go to break.
Back to the question you asked, what does an emotionally available man look like?
Aware
man
yes.
look like? An emotionally aware man, for starters, knows his identity.
Okay.
And he does not identify himself based on what the society identifies him as. All right? So he is a man who is comfortable in his manhood. Number one. Okay. Number two, there is an individual who will not, because he is solid in his identity, whatever it is that is expressed about him, or whatever it is that he experiences, how he reacts does not then change his identity.
Ooh, okay, so there's the identity that remains constant.
That remains critical.
Okay, yeah.
So if I am sad today, and probably I'm grieving, and I actually cry, because of who I identify as, crying will not make me less of a man.
Less of a man, yeah.
Make sense?
Okay, makes sense.
If I am hurt and I'm actually feeling frustrated for whatever reason, expressing it will not make me less of a man. If I am happy and I actually express my joy, it then doesn't change
who you are.
Doesn't soften
who it is that I identify as. Now, it is out of that then you move into the second space of emotional leadership. Because men, remember, have the divine responsibility, and especially at the family space, which is a primary unit that then develops or forms every other society. The men that take leadership of these families, because of their identity and their emotional awareness, they then create an emotionally safe space.
Okay.
Not only for their sons, but for their wives and daughters.
Okay.
So anytime, say for example, my spouse comes to me and says, I feel that in this thing that you have done, you don't love me. You know? My first reaction is not to demonstrate to her why I love her.
Or question, what do you mean I don't love you? See, provide, you know? see you this, see you that.
Exactly.
Okay.
It is to actually understand whatever it is that she has expressed is a feeling.
Yes.
It doesn't necessarily change. And it is valid. It doesn't necessarily mean that I don't love her. So the first reaction is not to defend or to take it as an accusation.
Okay.
It is to connect with her at that moment of vulnerability.
I like that. To lipe bills. And then we come back, okay? And then continue. But that is really, really good to hear, okay? Let that nini for a second. Let it boil, marinate, and then we take a break, and then when we come back, we'll pick up from there. And also then look at now this emotionally available and aware man. How does he sort of like manifest when it comes to relationships, when it comes to workplaces, what you talked about, when it comes to leadership as well, and just contributing to the society, really as a parent as well? What exactly does that look like for them? So there's a lot to come on the other side of the break. Just stay with us. The show is Your World. Welcome back to the show. And yes, officially the second hour of the conversation, this Mindful Monday. And we are looking at our men. Like I said, leo ni siku ya wanaume, okay? So our brothers, our sons, our cousins, our fathers, everybody, as long as they are a male figure in our lives, that is who we are focusing today. And we're looking at are men allowed to feel? And the consensus here on the show is absolutely yes. The biggest question is then, how do we support them to allow them to feel, but also to express, you know, those feelings? And that is what we're focusing on the conversation this morning. And the question that we are asking you is very simple, okay? And we're asking you, what message would you give to a young boy growing up today about being in touch with his feelings? So we'll be looking at your feedback in just a second. I do not want to lose the point where we were at. So the first one was, from what George was telling us, is number one, your identity.
Yes.
And then everything else around you does not have to define who you are, because you're solid. The identity part is constant, okay? Yes. So all these other things, sadness, joy, frustration, anger, everything else, it doesn't really define who you are at the core.
Yes.
We're taking notes. We're taking notes.
Glad you are. So I was at the point of relationships, and at this point I was speaking about your relationship as a man with your spouse.
Okay.
And because you're emotionally aware, you then are able to give emotional leadership.
Yes.
Now, for majority of men, when we provide and we protect and we pay school fees and what have you, that in its own way is leadership, or even strategy for the family, the direction. We are done with that. Yeah. But the one place that we really forget and we don't excel in, because we are not emotionally in tune, we are also not able to lead the home from an emotional point of view. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you must also be emotional. Be aware to actually understand the emotion that is being expressed. And because whatever it is that is being expressed does not change who you are, then you even accommodate and you actually even look forward for the feedback. So if my spouse tells me I am not feeling safe, it doesn't necessarily mean that I probably will batter her. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean that that is what she's saying. And I need to demonstrate safety for her. Now, what the lack of it then has led is because for the men who are not emotionally aware, they also cannot connect with their spouses at an emotional level. Now, that vulnerability then denies them connection. So because you're not being emotional, you can connect. And I'll give you an example. Personal experience. And I don't say these for sympathy or in anything. Back in 2017, my wife and I lost a child.
I'm sorry.
At birth. Thank you. And I remember, because of the role the society has given me as the lead of the home and the expectation of the society. So I know, even for me, the biggest responsibility is to also give her a place to anchor her feelings.
Support her.
So I was always there for her. The one thing I never did is to show her that I was grieving. So when I speak about denying an opportunity for connection, what did that lead to? It led to her resentment. Because she feels I did not love our son as much as she did. And I remember even trying to defend myself in that place, I would lose her even more. All right? And I remember at one point when we had to put away, because we've gone for delivery. So you've set the room, the nanny's there and all that. So you're coming and you have to clean up and put everything away, because the moment you move into that room, it then triggers something. So we are packing everything away. And that thing we decided to do it, the two of us. And that was the first time my wife actually saw me break down. And it is not that I was even okay. I was actually fighting it until she actually said, it is okay.
It's okay.
You know? So that inviting in. Kumbe, I have things when I'm outside there trying to hide, I'm suppressing. And then I get the permission to actually release. And man, I released. For the first time, and especially after the loss, we actually had a proper connection. She could actually feel seen, heard. And that I was also mourning.
I see.
You know? So awareness and availability, when it is there, it then further leads to connection.
It really does. And thanks for sharing, George. Gosh, I can't even imagine how difficult of a point, right? How difficult that was for you. And I like what you said, that the fact that there's conversation about your role here as a man and say for your spouse, say, I do not feel safe. It doesn't mean that you are not their safe space, you know? And understanding that and being able to connect. I think that it breaks massive walls, if I could say. But then again, the biggest question is then, how do we create that space? Because there's what you've said, there's the invitation that it's okay. I see you, it's okay. And that is when you're able to feel safe enough to actually let out all those emotions. So then how do we do this? And the we is mothers, is wives, is girlfriends, is sisters, you know. How do we do that? Just allow them that space to feel and to express that, and not detach from, you know, we men are logical, you are emotional, you know, so the men detach from the emotional self and remain logical.
Thank you for that question. I think mine is very simple. Create the environment.
Okay.
Create the environment where...
What is this environment?
Yes, I'm headed there. Just allow the men to be. Just from what he said. If it's a scenario where it's sad, just allow him to feel what he wants to feel. If it's a loss, allow that person to have that feeling of a loss.
Okay.
Yes, just like you're having. Allow it, support, you know? Don't mock, don't belittle, don't stigmatize, you know? There's nothing funny seeing a man crying, you know? You'd want to know, in fact, I personally believe when you see a man crying, your question is, what really is the problem? Because it's not a common occurrence.
It's not.
It's not a common occurrence. So that by itself should trigger. So create that environment, you know? Avoid abuse, avoid stigma, you know? And just love on the person. Just love on the person. And above all, understand the issue. I always say, don't look at what we see on face value.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Try to know, if you can, what is the backstory? What is the backstory?
It's true.
What's the backstory? We don't. Because it's hindsight. Because I said you're stoic. Yes, I'm stoic. But maybe na chapo kwa nyumba.
Right?
Oh, yeah. And we know violence against men, as I speak right now, it's a big deal.
It is.
I know it's very unreported. You know, so I think that's why I also want to plug in something very interesting here, the element of communication in emotions. Because one of my biggest learnings in communication, they always say, it is what you say, it's what you don't say. It is what you do, it's what you don't do. Now, if I'll give you a scenario. Let's say you're in a situation whereby there's a loss, and you see somebody not grieving, or somebody's up smiling, you know, they appear joyful. I think you'd want to look at that individual a bit deeper. Because that's not a normal reaction for that particular event. So when you think of even the elements of emotions, let's also look at other elements, such as, you know, communication, which is a big thing.
And the how, right?
Yes. Problem solving and working with people, teamwork. Because remember, as a human being, we are social beings. Interactions, relationships. You're able now to tell, how is this man doing? When you look at those facets. And above all, look at the socialization processes. The family. How is this person in the family? Church, school, community.
Because we belong to all this institutions.
Yes. So again, the environment needs to be created. So what does that require? It requires a lot of understanding from people. It requires a lot of deliberation, yes? And I believe also a lot of humanity as well. Humanity.
At the basic level. I hear that. The biggest question, and especially when it comes to communication, is then how do we do it? Because the example that you've given, right? So someone has experienced loss and they're not grieving. The first thing that would always ask is, okay? Or if they cry, we're asking, you're supposed to, you know, okay? And forgetting that this person also experienced loss. So how then do we communicate that invitation to say, it's okay, okay? How do we communicate or how do we, you talked about how do we create the environment, but the communication part of it is how do we do it? How do we change? Because the same parents who raised the men are the same parents who raised the women, right? And you will find that these parents believe, yes, for a girl to express their emotions, that's okay. So we girls have also grown up knowing it's okay for us to express, but it's not okay for you to express. That when we see you expressing, we're like, kuna shida, okay? So then how do we, the communication part of it is where I'm struggling to understand how do we, okay? But before that, we have a question on WhatsApp, okay? Our WhatsApp number is 012-500-400. Join us if we can have that question and just also look at some of the feedback on the question that we're asking this morning. Okay, this one says, my message would be, it's okay to feel and express themselves. I have a question though. How can one handle men who unfortunately grew up with an absent father figure, hence frequently stonewall and shut down emotionally? Personally, my man is a victim and we constantly have to revisit the path because I feel like when emotions pile, he distances. How can I help him grow and identify himself emotion-wise? And can I get the men's perspective on receiving financial support from their ladies? Does that make them feel less masculine? Oh, I really like this question. It's like 3 questions in one. So I hope you've noted down. The first part to that question is, how do you, where is it? How can I help him grow and identify his emotion? Because they grew up with an absentee father, right? And then the men's perspective on receiving financial support from their ladies. And I also like the fact, I wish you had, put your name, because this is a woman who says, I see my man and I want to help him. How do I? So I really commend you for that, okay? So we'll answer that question in a sec. Can we take another probably feedback? Okay, fantastic. Okay, can we answer that before we lose it? So who wants to take what?
I can take it. And of course, I'll invite him in because I know he has a critical part to what it is that I will say.
Yeah.
For the longest time, men have taken counseling again as weakness.
Yes.
You cannot face yourself if you're not willing to actually allow the mirror to be put in front of you.
Yeah.
Counseling is what, and I equate it to an onion. It removes peel after peel until you're left looking at yourself bare and nothing else matters around you.
Yeah.
And I think every man should allow themselves to go through counseling. You don't do counseling because you're broken or because you're not adequate. You also do counseling to realize the best version of yourself.
Okay.
This man thinks and knows that the best version of him is the one that does not express the emotion.
Okay.
And whereas it really hurts this lady, and thank you very much for even reaching out. Remember, you two are looking at the same thing. And it is like I'm standing here looking at a 6 that has been drawn on the floor. You, on the other hand, are standing on the other side, looking at the same 6. But whereas I'm seeing a 6, you are seeing a 9.
2 different perspectives.
2 different perspectives. So this man knows that for him to stonewall, it is strength. And so he does not want to show you weakness. All right? I would encourage this gentleman to actually take up counseling. Because the same way he is stalling at the point of family, there are so many other ways in which he also stonewalls on so many other facets of his life.
It's not just the family.
And it is even opportunities. There are opportunities that he'll actually not go for because there is a certain boy that has been injured that will not allow him to come out. All right? And I really want you to speak to that. But allow me to just also move on finances. And this is my perspective. In the space of marriage, there is nothing like the lady supporting the man.
Okay.
In the space of marriage.
Okay.
And this is why.
Is that the ideal or is that the reality?
It is the ideal.
It's the ideal.
It is the ideal.
Okay.
It is not the reality.
Okay.
In the space of marriage, we have so many people who are married, but their money is not married. So their money remains single.
Yeah.
These are the only individuals who are married. And it does not matter whether I am bringing 10,000 into the marriage and you are bringing 100,000 into the marriage. When that money is put in one basket, I don't have the 10,000 and you 100,000. The marriage, the family has 110.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
And that is the point from which this family should be operating from. Now, the lady has also identified that this gentleman is struggling with finances. But because of how he has been brought up, he is even struggling to allow her
to help,
to pull in her weight.
Yeah.
And remember, she's not helping. She's just doing what she should rightfully be doing within the confines of the marriage.
Of marriage. Okay.
Again, so counseling and get your money married. There are so many programs that you can actually do. One of them is called Couples and Money, a brilliant program that actually teaches you on how to actually build wealth as a married couple.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you run that program?
We run it at Mavuno,
Okay.
Mavuno Church.
Okay.
So anywhere at Mavuno Church, if you just reach out, you will get help on how you can actually enroll to that program.
But I really like that. Do not get married and then your money is single. Okay, money is always that conversation where people are like would rather not have. But yes.
I'll chime in the bit of counseling.
Yes.
I think for me, I begin by saying this. I'd like to actually note that there's been an increase in the uptake of therapy
That's good.
by men. Yes,
That's good.
And I'm saying this based on the work I've been doing. I mostly work with young men in informal settlements. Currently, I'm implementing a program called the Young Men Resilience Program by the Kenya Red Cross in Mathare.
Okay.
So it's working in Mathare and Mukuru, and it's been targeting young men between the ages of 18 to 30 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's been there for the last 7 years. So you've seen 7 years of transformation and resilience. Yes. When it comes to counseling, I think for me, for the longest time, people have viewed counseling as a foreign. It's that thing there. And you wait for the problem to happen.
Yeah.
Yes. But it also should be preventive. Because the preventive approaches as well. You don't just go to counseling when you've got a problem. You go to counseling, you can go get help with therapy, even just to get yourself together,
Understand where you are
Yes,
at.
yes. But heavily embedded in that, I think we also need to understand what else happens, what else can be done before counseling. Yes. And now there are different things out here. So one of the things I've come across a module called the Problem Management Plus. The Problem Management Plus is a module that basically is mostly used in informal settlements, but it really gives you that ability to be able to handle various stressors, within the community, And we also have, basic tenets of counseling, so lay counseling, right? Okay. There's also the element of resource mapping. So whereby wherever you are, you need to know, okay, if in the event this happens to me, where can I get help, for one? Where can I go? Number two, what resources do I have with toll-free lines? So it really opens your mind, yeah? Because sometimes you may not be able, because as you're aware, counseling is not a cheap feat.
It's not.
It's not, it's not exactly. So the idea is what can be done, also what can you also do in your own way before you even go for counseling, yeah? Okay. We've got lay counseling for one, we've got psychological first aid, I think, which is very important at this point in time. And PFA, just for the benefit of the public, is what you call psychological first aid, is the immediate and humane support given to individuals or persons during traumatic events. And it's done by anybody, you don't have to be a counselor. So I think it's important to have some of these things, yeah? The PFA, Problem Management Plus, we've got even wings for women who are undergoing intimate partner violence, and I dare also say men. So it's important to also get some of these resources.
The resources.
Yes, especially within within the community you are in. What does that require? It requires a lot of deliberation also on your part as a person. So you need to know what's happening where, and where do you go, and where can you go and seek this particular help that you want.
Yes. I mean, it's very interesting because there was a time we had, I think, a group of from Red Cross, and one of the things they asked is, you can't even know the emergency number, because as we know, the ones from the movies. So yeah, it makes a whole lot of sense when you say, understand the resources within reach. Just be aware in case anything happens, but also as a preventive measure. I really like that. Okay, absenteeism. Can we, because most of us, when you say absentee father, we think it's the physical, you know, absenteeism. Yes. But we have some people who, Mama, you go. Luckily, you go. Okay, so can we just tackle what absenteeism looks like and what then that does to a young boy growing up into a young man who eventually, you know, would have their own family?
As you said, absenteeism is a lot. It's more than just physically being there and providing. It is about that man-to-man talk. It's about the emotional attachment. It's about the bonding aspect of it.
Yeah.
So what happens when that is not there? But again, as I said, we need to go back and see where this man is coming from.
Okay.
Because there's a process of healing. Healing doesn't just happen anyhow. Even when we were doing one-on-one counseling, I think I decided to take myself out of that space and decided to go out more.
Okay.
And even try to explain to people what is counseling, you know, for them to buy the idea first, for them to see, by the way, hii kitu naeza fanya. So we need to acknowledge our feelings, our present moments, our feelings, our situations, our health. Acknowledge all of that first, then express.
Okay.
Tell me, I'm a man, I'm feeling, I was violated. I feel like my dad has not been there. And then take action.
Okay.
Absenteeism, and it is not, I keep telling Albert that we don't need to look at statistics and jargons and so many things. Let us make it as simple as possible.
Okay.
There's a time I went with my mentor, Dr. Susan, to a family. So she went with the parents, I went with the kids. And then it was through the process of mentoring. And then I was like, okay, fine, sasa niko na watoto. What do I do? Where do I start now watoto?
Yeah.
What do I start engaging them with?
Yeah.
Then we started to kupiga story. Nikauliza, so can you, because with kids, if they don't know how to express, they do it well on through drawing.
Yes.
So atakuchorea. So one of them draws a big head with big eyes, with a big mouth, and then draws to small people kwa kona. So what does that tell you? Yeah, that is a violent house.
Yes.
This is the father shouting, scary,
angry,
and then this is the mother and the kids wamejificha kwa kona because now they're afraid of that. So do we know how these kids express themselves first? Do we understand? Do they know how? Then these kids comes and I ask him, so can you tell me about your family? And he says, I think that kid was about 6 years. Ako like, so for me najua, my dad, I know he's busy and he's a lawyer, but he comes to school, he either comes first 15 minutes, I'm at the last 15 minutes. So akikosa kuja 15 minutes, I just still around. Then the last 15 minutes, akikosa kukuja, I know he's not coming. So that is absenteeism.
Yes.
So it is the smallest details.
The smallest things.
It doesn't have to be ambiguous ati hayuko physically.
They left the
wala
family
kukutext WhatsApp ati huyo mtoto na amekuwa mkubwa nakula nini? Anakula nyasi. You see those memes and those other things, So it is the small details.
Little
and remember I told you, monkey see, monkey do. And these kids observe a lot. Even when parents think that they can reciprocate money with their presence, these kids learn and they observe. So are you there physically? Are you supporting them emotionally? Are you going down to as basic as asking them, how was your day? Akitoka shule.
And even just knowing the best friend or the teacher, their favorite teacher.
Who's your favorite teacher?
Because I know for most parents it's like, we're out here hustling and you know the economy right now is bad.
Hustling for who? For the
we're
same children.
so that they can have a roof over their
for the same children that you're making a big boundary with them, saying you're hustling, you're working for money and everything, but at the end of the day, you are not there. So who do they talk to?
And that is what they remember most. You were never there.
And sadly, because we're talking about men, who teaches men sex? It is women. And who are the immediate women? The house managers. Why? Because you are not there. Yeye ndo anaenda kumuosha. Yeye ndo anaenda kumvalisha. Akimuosha, things will happen.
Don't go there because now I don't want to think about it.
So every time I keep talking to parents, I keep telling them, take time with your child. Hata kama uko busy aje. Weka siku moja tu sema leo I'm putting everything aside na muosha.
Or even just 10 minutes.
At 10 minutes, muoshe, because that is when you'll realize so many things. Kama amekuwa abused, kama ako na swelling, kama ako na pus, kama ako angry. And then find something that you can do with this kid that will bring you closer to them. Get their passion. Wachana na masomo. Masomo iko ni constant atasoma. But besides masomo, what is the life of this kid? wanapenda TV, kaa naye watch. Wanapenda game, cheza na yeye. Anapenda kupika, enda naye pika. Conversation will come. And then you'll get to understand your kid. Because they'll tell you. Now, but then, mom, tukipika, you know, you're explaining to them kipika. Then you'll start a conversation from nowhere. And then you'll talk about you and them. And funny enough, they'll tell you.
They will.
They'll tell you, but then, mom, wewe unatuachianga so mbili, but si ataki so mbili, si tunataka 60 tukule simocha na tushibe.
Right?
But wewe uko unafikiria vitu mingi, uwache 1000 wakule nyama. You know, and that is the biggest problem that we're having in this country because we don't involve all the stakeholders. Angalia CBC, where is CBC crumbling? We never brought the kids to aulize.
What is it?
Hii CBC tukisema ifanye hivi itakuwa aje? Tukiweka swimming pool Turkana na wajeo na maji, will they swim?
They won't.
So let us bring our kids. In fact, hii story ya kusema ati what are we bringing to the table? What is that table?
Okay.
Understand what the table nini na form hiyo table?
Wow.
Nini na build hiyo table? Nini iko kwa hiyo table?
The basic fundamentals.
Can you dismantle that table?
Right?
And first talk before you bring the table.
And then your table might be different from my table,
totally
his
different.
Table, from his table.
Totally different.
I really
so let us sit. You and your son and your daughter, ask them, so who are you? How are you feeling? How do you see me as a father? Then before you bring that table, we both parties understand this table is coming and this is what I'm putting in this table.
On the table.
Yes.
I like that. Oh my days. Wow.
So it is a process. Like we need to look at everything as a process, not just an event. Growing up is not an event. It is a process.
It's a process.
Absenteeism, for the young man, it will teach him what it is that needs to be done when he gets to the same place.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, it will also teach the girl what to expect from the man.
Yes. Hallelujah.
So she has grown up.
Same parent,
Same parent. So the boy knows, I don't need to be home.
Yes.
The girl knows, when I grow up and I get married, I know I cannot depend on my man.
I can do it on my own.
Okay. So we are creating families. Yet the example they are learning from is warped.
Yes,
totally.
Yes. I see that. I see. Where? And then we come. Wow. Then when we come back, we'll look more at your feedback. But yes, before we go on a break, we have I think a few on WhatsApp. Okay, let's get to see and also answer probably some of your questions. Okay, this one says, "Hi, my world." I think you meant your world. This one says, "I'm Wenju from Kembu, learning a lot from the show." So back to the question. I personally, as a single mom raising a baby boy, I'll raise him with the teaching of expressing his feelings is not a sign of weakness, and by being free to express how you feel regardless of the response you get is best for you. I like that. Nice. This one says, yes, men are allowed to feel. Emotions are human, not generated. The problem is society often teaches men to hide their pain instead of expressing it. Men have hearts too. Strength isn't silence, it's honesty about how you feel. This is Engineer Ken. Thank you so much for that. Then this one says, who? Okay.
Wow. That's hard to come.
Hata jaza high. Narcissistic women. Feed off your emotions. The reaction or the response you give after they trigger you gives them a sense of satisfaction. My emotions got me overthinking, doubting myself, and questioning my narrative of the story. Nowadays, I don't engage my emotions in anything, and my life changed. I have never been any better. Wow. Hey, Albert, can we start from there? Yay. And that's what I was asking in terms of the communication and the how do we do it, because you know you talk about narcissistic women, feed off your DD. So he's decided he's not going to show and he's not going to share, and says his life has changed. So I don't know whether for the better or for worse. Again, really, we'll unpack all that and also go through more of your feedback on Facebook. Keep sending them our way. We'll look at them after the break. Just stay with us. Goodbye. On this Mindful Monday, the conversation today is on emotional unavailability, and we're unpacking, are men allowed to feel? And like I said, the consensus is yes, they are allowed to feel. And we're looking at the culture of suppressing male emotion and its cost. And we've looked at it from different perspectives, from families, from spouses, relationships, and even at career level. And of course, there's a whole lot of question about then how do we, as women, as sisters, as mothers, then create that environment to allow them to express their feelings, but also appreciate the fact that they are expressing and not using it against them, okay? And the question that we're we're asking you this morning is very simple. The question is, what message do you have for that young boy who is growing up now about being in touch with their emotions and their feelings, okay? But there was also a question on narcissistic women feeding off your emotion. Yeah, okay, this one, it goes, narcissistic women feed off your emotions, and the reaction or the response that you give after they trigger you gives them a sense of satisfaction. My emotions got me overthinking, doubting myself, and questioning my narrative of the story. Nowadays, I don't engage my emotions in anything, and my life changed. I have never been any better. So Albert, yes, for you to really address that. And then, do they continue to say, oh, this is another one. This one says, good morning, my name is Dennis. Let's start with understanding that there's a whole difference between two genders and how both interpret emotions. In fact, if we begin to push this conversation about emotional vulnerability to our men, we shall lose big time. Honestly speaking, men only need to learn to soldier on, irregardless. Hey, because the way this world treats us is not that friendly. And if you only learn to to listen, to them, you don't have a chance in life. And as well as the same people who told you to be expressive, you will be the same people who will not be available for you anymore. Hey, Albert, I feel at this point, like I said, we the society, owe men an apology. Yes. Because where?
I just need to just breathe in and out.
Right?
Yeah. But I'll say this, and I appreciate the gentleman's contribution, and I can imagine what it's like.
Yeah.
And earlier on, I said, you have to be wisely vulnerable. At the same time, know whom you're sharing, what you're sharing, when you're sharing, where you're sharing, and how you're sharing. Because not everybody will receive it the way you think. Yeah. Unfortunately, people are people. Kuna watu na kuna viatu. And such is life. Such is life. We are human. Being human means we need to feel. We have emotions that we need to really embrace. But I once again really emphasize the fact that even as you express and as you share, let's be wise at it. Because the truth of the matter is not everybody has got our best interest at heart.
That's true.
Yeah, so you have to be very careful. I think look at different things. Look at your context, the kind of relation you have with them, and follow your instincts.
Yeah.
What's your instinct telling you? We have got, there's that gut.
That feeling.
That, this person. Exactly. I always say sometimes, listen to it. Just listen to that gut. Because from where I come from, I always believe that's the voice of God telling you. That, just take a pause, Yeah, so that's how I really respond to the young man. When it comes to narcissistic women, I'll rephrase and I'll look at it broader in terms of toxic people. Yes, and personally, from where I sit, I don't surround myself with toxicity. Having said that, I'm alive to the fact that this can come in different fronts. Can come,
and sometimes you can't avoid those toxic people.
Exactly, yes, I appreciate that. So I think the thing is sometimes be very vocal on some of the things that they are doing. Just say, I don't appreciate this. I will not condone this. Be very
stoic at that point.
Absolutely. That is it. I don't appreciate this. You did this. I don't like it. I don't like when you talk to me in this manner. I don't appreciate it. I think in that way, you do two things. You let them know, and in the process, you also take care of your well-being. Yes, because I think just as it was mentioned, you see, over time, that will affect you. Yes, it will affect your self-esteem, and I can tell you for free. It will be so difficult to navigate and thrive, especially in our kind society, if you don't have self-esteem or self-confidence. And I always say one thing about narcissism, they tend to hit your self-confidence. and thereby your self-esteem. Yes. And when your self-confidence is hit, your self-esteem is hit, and by default setting, your communication skills is hit.
It's also hit.
Because you don't have, you can't express yourself. Yes.
Yeah, I see that. And I think they sort of like have an experience because they said they trigger you, and then this is the response that you give.
Yes.
They use it against you.
Yes.
So,
you know, these people thrive on pain that you experience, first of all. If we know the story of the famous Adolf Hitler and him being narcissistic, but people don't go back and read his history and how he was brought up. It was about parenting, poor parenting. His father used to beat him and do all those sort of things to him. So that is what he grew up knowing. He grew up knowing it is pain. It is about inflicting pain. It is about harming others. I get satisfaction and I thrive through seeing you getting harmed. And I keep saying, let us always do a background check of everything. Even this person that you're dating, this person that you're engaging with, this person that you're meeting. Communication is very important. Get to know where are they coming from, where are they how are they feeling. And again, who chooses your friends? Who chooses who to hang out with? Who chooses who to engage with? Who chooses where the spaces that you want to be in? It is about you. Protect yourself at all costs. Protect your identity. Protect your passion. Protect your interest. Don't go into movements blindly just because you see people doing things and it is all over social media. It is a hype. You know, it is feminism. But do you understand what is feminism?
in the first place.
In the first place. Do you understand who is a narcissist? Have you done... Counseling is very... And I really appreciate that. Counseling is very important and it should be not just a unit at a university. It should go broader. So that we need to understand our personality types. We need to understand personality disorders. We need to understand sexual disorders. We need to understand our family tree. We go back all the way with Albert to the family tree when you're talking to these young men in Kibra. Because again, these issues are also circumstantial based on where you are coming from. When you look at, when you talk about empowerment, you know, female empowerment, male empowerment, but what is the whole system, you know, saying? What is the employment system saying? The problems that are in Kibra are not the same problems that are in Runda.
It's true.
And you'll find, like, when you talk about employment and the spaces for men, the boda sector or the informal sector or the Jokali sector, that's where you'll find most of the young men, below 20 years. That's where they are. Why? Because that is how that environment has conditioned them. When we did a program with Albert in Kibra, and we took men from, is it Sinta Mudli or Sinta Valley Road? One of them. We mentored them as mentors. Then we went to Kibra, we mentored these 20 young men as mentees. And then we brought them together for a period of 8 weeks. And then we told them, you go. As Christ told us, take your sheep and go with them. So each man had three young men. Do you know one of the boys from Kibra went to church? Sintam nakarudi nakaenda nakaka huko. Why? Because aliona this father figure took him to Chicken Inn, bought him chicken, they sat down and they ate, not just for one day. For like 2 days in a week, for the whole 8 weeks.
Oh, wow.
That changed the whole perception of men in him. One of the young men, there was a gender-based violence in his neighbors. After we did the training, he was able to know how to confront that issue. Because again, you look at safeguarding, how safe are we? Even before going to this narcissistic woman and start and engage her. So how safe are you, first of all, before you get into that situation? So we need to understand the spaces that we are in. We need to understand the culture, the region, the setup, because it is all different.
And you know what point that you've brought up, because most of the time when we're talking about men and emotions and whatnot, we usually say, what can the females in their lives do? But then again, what you're talking about, what then can the males in that space also do? And probably this is where I want to bring you into, in terms of then leadership and mentorship as well. Because just that simple example, this man took this boy to, you know, eat twice, you know, and that completely, without even talking. The talking part, yes, there is, but then again, it's the action. What is it that they see? So can we talk about then the space? Now that we know, like, say, you men and other men who are watching us and the ones who are aware know better about emotions and how to express them and the security that comes with it. So then what is it that they can do to help this young boy who is growing up now in a world where empowerment, feminism, Me Too, you know, all these you know, are going on? What is that space for the men who know better now?
Well, several things. And it is not just for the men who are growing up. Yeah. It is also for the men who have a lot to unlearn.
Yes.
And I'll start by saying this. Women speak or open up, and out of that vulnerability, they feel safe. Men, on the other hand, must feel safe before they can open up.
Okay.
Now, for the ladies, you condition the men in your life based on how you respond to their vulnerability.
Okay.
Exactly.
And there is the normalization of empathy is for men to give, not for them to receive.
Ooh.
All right?
Okay.
So our ladies also need to learn, and it is what my mentor has taught us, that you need to listen to the emotion behind what is being said or what has been done.
Okay.
Every time somebody is speaking, there is an emotion behind it.
Yes.
Try to understand that emotion that is informing. As he said, emotions dictate or influence behavior.
Yes.
All right? One. So be very open and empathetic when those emotions are expressed. But at the same time, even as men, we have a responsibility. And it is across genders. And the responsibility is often to not speak about the individual, but to what it is that certain actions have caused us to fail. And this is what I mean. There is a big difference with Unavailable jinga. That is what, because it is angry, that is what is easier for us to say.
Yeah.
But the same packaging can be, when you do this, I feel taken for granted. Again, so it becomes much easier to address me taking you for granted. I will be empathetic, I'll accommodate, I'll apologize, because you have not attacked the individual. All right? Some of Unavailable jinga, now I need to start proving to you, by the way, jinga.
Yes.
You know, and it changes. It is what he was speaking to in terms of packaging. Now, vulnerability is strength, and men need to learn vulnerability. But because it is not something that is very familiar to us, we have to teach ourselves based on simple things. How you begin to recondition yourself is by doing something and getting a certain result, which then encourages you to have another cycle of doing something similar. So when we speak and we are accommodated, it becomes easier for us to speak. But as that viewer mentioned, because it is not always that you'll have a space that is safe for you to speak. Now men need to go a step further and start building units of brotherhood that they can actually feel safe in. Now, often men will be in those brotherhoods and the only thing that they do is drinks and games, you know, and trips. It has to be bigger than that. That pack, get one individual. One individual who you trust, who you are aligned on in values and the things that you stand for. And where you see similarities, start by doing simple things. Hey, this has happened at my workplace. And Manze, I feel scared. You know, the way he responds will give you an opportunity to actually try it again. But remember, and it is one of the things that I really speak to men about, men need to understand how to communicate with other men.
Okay.
It is very easy for me to communicate with a lady when we are seated opposite each other, looking at each other in the eye. The lady feels heard and seen when I'm looking at her in the eye. And I don't know if you've seen it even when you're bringing up small girls and, you know, you're speaking and you're distracted. The girl will always try to turn your face to look at her. But try that with men, it becomes awkward. So for men, you need to have those deep conversations over activities. So my boy, and I thank God for him, the one person who we've been able to actually create a space with him, he loves pool. And I suck at it. So the only thing I know I need to do to have his undivided attention for an hour or two is to actually engage him on a game of pool.
Okay.
I know I will get hard. Whatever thing I know I have not processed enough to actually even take to my spouse, in that space, it will be critiqued.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
I will probably even feel affirmed. By the time I'm even taking to the second level, I have had a space where I can actually, you know, even process it.
Yeah.
And I think with those few nuggets, for starters, men create space for other men, approach based on the values, but also ladies accommodating and allowing us actually not overreacting or reacting wrongly to our vulnerability.
Yeah.
It begins to then recondition us to be able to actually be expressive.
Extend empathy as well, understand that you did. And we were talking about this during the break and said, so aside from the man just being the man, right? And all these responsibilities and expectations that we have bestowed upon them, we need to understand that they are human first.
Yes.
Without being dad, without being brother, without being they're human first. True. And that means they have these emotions. So how then do we allow them to express these emotions? I can see our time is far much spent as, we're learning a lot. But at the same time, so then with this, and probably in families, some might be watching us and thinking, hey, I think I need to apologize to my boy, to, you know, to my dad, to my son, to, you know, like, how then do we correct what has been, I don't want to say traumatized or need, but yes, you know, how then do we, how then do we correct that? Because it's true, for so many, you know, years and even longer periods of time, we've not seen men as human. We've seen them as men. You need to provide, you need to protect, you need to, you know, but we've never just sat and asked, what do you need? What is it that I can do, you know, to make it easier and better for you? How then do we correct that? How do we just reverse if we can reverse?
Okay, for when it comes to parenting and parents, I would say a bit of empathy for parents. Okay. Empathy for parents, because they are only doing what they know. I believe so. Yeah. So a bit of empathy for them. And life is a journey of learning. We unlearn and relearn. And relearn. Yes. And I say, in the world we are in today, things are very fast moving, and we have to be up to it. And we need to be very cognizant of the fact that things are not as they were even 3 years ago. In this regard, how men were 3 years ago, you can't fit into the 2025 going to 2026. Something is needed, something extra is needed. And for that extra thing, we need to create that environment. It requires a lot of willingness, openness, deliberation, and support.
Okay. I like that. I see that. Okay, what would you say very briefly, and then I have a question.
Me na got to bland. Miss Nagate.
But usichome.
Because you know, for things to work in the family, let everyone take up the responsibility. Okay. Let the parents be parents. Let children be children. As much as we are understanding where they are coming from, or in counseling we say, getting into their shoes, feeling, allowing, but don't stay there. Come back to your own self. Or the empty chair technique. This is me, this is my dad. Me sitting here, this is my dad. So let me feel what my dad feels when he's on that seat. Then let me come back again on this seat as the son. Then let me feel what I should feel as a son. So do we acknowledge that he's a dad? He's going through a lot. There's a lot of expectation and everything. Can I first show him empathy and love as a son before I start challenging him or start questioning his love for me? So if all of us in the family setup can take our place in the family and then ask ourselves those deep questions, how it feels to be a mother. You know, can I call my mother and ask her, before you come from work, what can I be preparing for you? That is what I used to do to my mom when she was working at Tigoni Lockouts when I finished high school. Because I realized, you know, my dad used to tell us that huku ni kwa jeshi, kitu kiharibika, kwenu ni Meru. Chakula ikipikwa, hakuna hot dish, kutoka kwa sahani. But what was that teaching us? So for you to understand that there are roles and responsibilities, and then this person is also working, and you are there, you're not working, so what can you do? Can you fill that gap? Can you make this person feel loved and cared for, even without you saying anything? Then can that trigger change? to you.
I think if we do that, just the mirror technique, I think that it would make a whole lot of difference, because you wouldn't want to be treated the way, you know, someone else is being treated. Okay, listen, in like 15 seconds each, as now that we know better, now that you know better, and we've been playing this show for a very long time, I will ask you the same question that we're asking the viewers today, and that is, what is that one message that you would give, you know, to a boy who's growing up now? But now for you guys, it's not to a boy who's growing up now, it is your younger self, the boy in you, because right, there's always that boy in you. Now that you know what you know now, what is it that you will tell that boy in you, right, as far as expressing their emotions, in like 10 seconds each before we're kicked out of the studio? Do you want to go first?
Oh my God.
You want to go first? Okay,
I'll go first. What I'll tell that boy is that vulnerability is strength.
Okay.
It is okay for me to actually express whatever it is that I am feeling, but I cannot express it if I can't put a word that represents it accurately. Yes. So name it, you'll be able to address it, and it is okay to speak.
Oh, yes. I love that. I love that. Albert?
I think I'll tell my younger self that emotions are okay.
Okay.
It's good to have them and express them. And it's really a sign of strength and not vulnerability.
Yes, it is.
Yes, and also it's also a good way of redeeming toxic masculinity.
Oh, where? Yes. Hey, tuvuke shot on nyumbani.
For me, the simple thing that we always tell men around, it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's as simple as that. It's okay not to be okay. Yes. I like that. I like that. Oh, wow. Hey, we've come to the end of the show. Learning a lot. But before we say goodbye, can we just go through some of the feedback that we have on the question of the day this morning? And that is, what message would you give to a younger boy growing up today about being in touch with his feelings? Tusikie watu wa WhatsApp wanasema nini before we say goodbye. This one says, good morning. I can't say, yes. Good morning. Good topic. Kindly share the contact of the speakers in case of following up. This is Janet from Syokimau. Thank you so much, Janet. Do we have another one? This one says, hello, you're wild. I have noticed that many emotionally available men are mostly from broken homes and absent fathers. I guess fathers should educate and just be there for their sons when growing up. Oh, interesting. Nice. Okay. This one says, what? I can't see it. Okay. Can we scroll down up? Okay, this one says, good morning. I was raised by a single mom and my late aunt. I did not know I was lacking something until a day in school. I was in class 3 when my peers were talking about how their weekend was with their dads. And that's when I realized I could not contribute to that conversation. And due to not having a dad, my mom overcompensated. So I have learned manhood from the streets. In my adolescence, things were happening to my body, things I couldn't share with my mother or my aunts. The few times I've asked about my dad, people get uncomfortable, and not just my mom. It was a nasty break I have had. I did not have a dad to teach me how to handle women. I have learnt that by myself. I have, what else did I say? I have asked where his grave is, and I was told we will get back to you. Personally, I don't keep friends who abandon their kids. Oh, wow. Where? There's so much to cover. But hey, listen, this is not a conversation that just ends here, okay? Let's keep it going on our socials. But for now, allow us to say goodbye. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Winnie Lubembe. I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place, right here on Your World. But until then, stay safe, God bless, and it's okay.